For generations, retirement was pictured as a shared destination, a couple growing old together, leaning on each other every day, planning life side by side. But that picture is changing. Today, more and more people are choosing to enter retirement on their own. And contrary to old beliefs, this decision is not sad, selfish, or lonely. In fact, for many, it is one of the most practical, peaceful, and emotionally healthy choices they have ever made. One major reason people are retiring solo is freedom, real freedom. After decades of responsibility to employers, children, spouses, and extended family, many individuals finally want their time to belong entirely to them. Retirement alone means choosing when to wake up, what to eat, where to live, and how to spend each day without compromise. There is no need to negotiate preferences or carry emotional obligations that no longer feel fulfilling. This freedom often leads to reduced stress and a stronger sense of personal identity, something many people realize they lost while constantly putting others first. Another powerful reason is emotional clarity. As people age, they become more aware of what drains them and what nourishes them. Some relationships, even long-term ones, are built more on habit than harmony. Retirement removes daily distractions and forces people to confront emotional realities. Many discover that staying alone feels calmer than staying in a relationship that requires constant adjustment, silence, or emotional labor. Choosing solo retirement is often less about rejecting companionship and more about protecting mental peace. Financial independence also plays a big role. Many retirees today have their own pensions, savings, or investments. They no longer need to rely on a partner for security, and they are cautious about financial entanglements later in life. Managing money independently allows for clearer planning, fewer conflicts, and better control over healthcare and living arrangements. For some, it is simply more sensible to plan one life carefully than to merge two complex financial histories late in the game. Health and routine are another factor. As people age, their physical needs, energy levels, and daily rhythms can differ greatly from others. Living solo allows retirees to design routines that truly suit their bodies, whether that means quiet mornings, afternoon naps, special diets, or strict medication schedules. There is no guilt about slowing down or doing things differently. This autonomy often leads to better self-care and, surprisingly, improved health outcomes. Social connection has also evolved. Being alone no longer means being isolated. Many solo retirees maintain rich social lives through friends, community groups, volunteering, travel clubs, faith centers, and online connections. Without the pressure to meet all emotional needs through one person, they often build broader, healthier networks. These connections are chosen, not forced, and that makes them more meaningful. Past experiences also shape this choice. Some people enter retirement after divorce, widowhood, or difficult relationships. Instead of rushing into new partnerships out of fear, they choose to honor their experiences and focus on themselves. They value peace over repetition. Retirement becomes a chapter of healing, rediscovery, and quiet joy, rather than another attempt to meet expectations set by society. Most importantly, choosing retirement solo reflects a deep shift in how people define happiness. Happiness is no longer seen as something guaranteed by marriage or constant companionship. It is seen as alignment between values, lifestyle, and inner peace. Many retirees realize that they feel most themselves when they are not trying to fit into someone else's rhythm. Entering retirement solo does not mean closing the door to love, friendship, or connection. It simply means opening the door to choice. It means companionship is welcomed, not required. For many, that mindset brings confidence, dignity, and contentment. So, when people choose to retire alone, they are not giving up. They are choosing intentionally. They are choosing calm over chaos, authenticity over appearance, and peace over pressure. And in a world that has long told people they must age in pairs to be complete, choosing to retire solo doesn't just make sense. It feels like freedom at last. Freedom and personal autonomy become especially powerful in retirement because this stage of life finally removes many of the obligations that shaped earlier years. For decades, most people lived according to schedules that were not fully their own. Work hours, family responsibilities, social expectations, and compromises required to keep relationships functioning. Retirement, when entered solo, offers a rare opportunity to reclaim ownership of time, space, and decisions in a way that is deeply liberating. Every day can be structured around personal energy levels, interests, and moods, rather than negotiation or adjustment to someone else's needs. This freedom shows up in small but meaningful ways. A person can wake up early or late without explanation, eat what suits their health rather than shared preferences, and enjoy silence without feeling the need to fill it. Travel plans can be spontaneous or minimal. Living arrangements can reflect comfort rather than compromise, whether that means a quiet apartment, a countryside home, or a compact city space close to community life. These choices, while simple, restore a sense of control that many people did not realize they had lost. Personal autonomy also strengthens self-trust. When retirees make decisions independently, they become more confident in their judgment. They learn to listen to their bodies, emotions, and intuition. This self-reliance is not about isolation. It is about knowing that one's happiness does not require constant validation or approval from another person. Many solo retirees report feeling lighter, calmer, and more grounded because their lives are no longer shaped by unresolved tensions, unspoken expectations, or emotional bargaining. Importantly, autonomy does not mean loneliness. It means that connections are chosen intentionally rather than maintained out of habit or fear. Social interactions become more authentic because they are entered freely, not out of obligation. When people have full control of their lives, they tend to show up more genuinely in friendships, family relationships, and community activities. Freedom in retirement also allows room for reinvention. People explore hobbies they once postponed, return to creative interests, volunteer, or simply enjoy silence without feeling the need to fill it. There is no pressure to justify how time is spent. This sense of permission to live according to personal truth rather than social scripts is what makes solo retirement feel empowering rather than empty. Ultimately, freedom and personal autonomy give retirees something priceless: the ability to live in alignment with who they are now, not who they were expected to be. That alignment often brings peace, clarity, and a quiet joy that many people find more fulfilling than any traditional definition of togetherness. Emotional peace and mental well-being become central priorities in later life, especially as people grow more aware of how deeply their surroundings and relationships affect their inner state. Many individuals reach retirement after decades of emotional effort, managing conflicts, suppressing feelings, compromising needs, or maintaining harmony at the cost of personal peace. Choosing to enter retirement solo is often a conscious decision to step away from emotional noise and finally experience calm on a daily basis. As people age, tolerance for stress naturally decreases. What once felt manageable can start to feel exhausting. Small disagreements feel heavier, unresolved issues longer, and emotional tension has a stronger impact on physical health. Living alone in retirement removes many of these constant low-level stressors. There is no need to monitor moods, avoid sensitive topics, or carry the emotional weight of another person's frustrations. The home becomes a place of restoration rather than negotiation. Mental well-being also improves when individuals are free from unspoken expectations. In many long-term relationships, roles become fixed over time. One person is expected to be patient, another practical, another emotionally supportive. Retirement brings long hours together, and these roles can feel suffocating. Solo retirement allows a person to simply be, without labels, without pressure, and without having to explain emotional shifts. This freedom often leads to greater emotional stability and self-acceptance. Being alone also encourages emotional honesty. Without distractions, retirees can reflect on their thoughts, process past experiences, and understand themselves more clearly. This reflection is not about dwelling on regret, but about making peace with life as it has unfolded. Many people find that solitude gives them space to heal from old wounds, forgive themselves, and let go of long-held resentments that quietly affected their mental health for years. Importantly, emotional peace does not come from cutting off the world. It comes from choosing interactions that feel nourishing rather than draining. Solo retirees often become more selective with their energy. They spend time with people who respect their boundaries and avoid environments that create anxiety or emotional fatigue. This intentional living significantly reduces stress and increases feelings of contentment. Mental well-being also benefits from predictability and emotional safety. When a person controls their environment, they can create routines that support calm: quiet mornings, regular walks, meaningful reading, meditation, or prayer. There is no emotional uncertainty waiting at home. This sense of safety allows the nervous system to relax, which is crucial for long-term mental health.
In the end, emotional peace is not about avoiding relationships. It is about prioritizing inner balance. For many retirees, living solo provides the clarity, quiet, and emotional space they need to feel truly at ease. And that peace, once experienced, often becomes the most valued part of retirement. Financial independence and simplicity become especially important in retirement because this stage of life leaves little room for financial uncertainty or ongoing conflict. After decades of earning, saving, and contributing, many retirees want clarity and control over their money rather than complexity and compromise. Choosing to retire solo often allows people to manage their finances in a way that feels safer, calmer, and more transparent. When finances are shared later in life, they often come with hidden complications: different spending habits, unequal savings, debts, or obligations to extended family. Even well-meaning partners can bring financial stress simply because their priorities differ. Living solo removes the need to negotiate every expense or justify personal choices. A retiree can budget according to their own comfort level, spend confidently on what matters most, and avoid anxiety about another person's financial decisions. Simplicity also reduces emotional strain. Money is one of the most common sources of tension in relationships, and retirement can amplify that tension when income becomes fixed. Solo retirees know exactly what is coming in and what is going out. This clarity makes planning easier and reduces fear about the future.
Healthcare costs, housing, travel, and daily living expenses can be managed realistically without pressure to maintain a lifestyle that no longer feels necessary. Financial independence also protects long-term security. Many older adults are cautious about combining assets, especially after divorce or widowhood. Managing finances alone helps prevent legal complications, inheritance disputes, or unintended obligations. It allows retirees to plan their estates clearly, support loved ones intentionally, and ensure their wishes are respected without confusion. Living simply does not mean living poorly. In fact, many solo retirees discover that they need less than they once thought. Without the social pressure to keep up appearances or meet shared expectations, spending becomes more mindful. Money is directed toward comfort, health, experiences, and peace, rather than unnecessary accumulation. This shift often leads to greater satisfaction and less worry. Financial independence also builds confidence. Knowing that one can sustain themselves without relying on anyone else creates a strong sense of self-respect and stability. It removes fear of being a burden and replaces it with pride and self-sufficiency. This confidence often spills into other areas of life, encouraging better decision-making and emotional balance. In the end, financial independence and simplicity are not about control, they are about peace. For many retirees, living life alone allows them to live within their means, plan with clarity, and enjoy retirement without the constant stress that financial complexity can bring. Customized health, lifestyle, and daily routines become one of the most practical and comforting advantages of entering retirement solo. As people age, their bodies, energy levels, and health needs become more specific. What feels right for one person may feel exhausting or uncomfortable for another. Living alone allows retirees to design their days around what truly supports their physical and mental well-being, without having to adjust to someone else's habits or expectations. In solo retirement, daily life can move at a natural pace. Some people feel their best early in the morning, while others need slow starts and quiet time. There is no pressure to match sleep schedules, meal times, or activity levels. A retiree can rest when their body asks for rest, exercise gently when energy allows, and enjoy stillness without guilt. This flexibility often leads to better sleep, reduced fatigue, and improved overall health. Health management also becomes simpler and more consistent. Medication schedules, dietary choices, and doctor-recommended routines can be followed without compromise. If a person needs low-sodium meals, sugar control, or specific foods for digestion, they can plan accordingly without negotiation. Appointments, therapies, and checkups are scheduled based on personal needs rather than shared calendars. This level of control helps prevent small health issues from becoming larger problems. Lifestyle choices also feel more authentic. Some retirees thrive on quiet days filled with reading, prayer, or reflection. Others enjoy gardening, walking, creative hobbies, or volunteering. Living solo allows individuals to shape their environment to match their temperament, keeping the home peaceful, organized, and emotionally safe. Noise, clutter, and unwanted routines are minimized, which has a surprisingly positive effect on stress levels and mood. Daily routines, when self-designed, bring a sense of stability and dignity. Simple rituals like morning tea, afternoon walks, or evening music create comfort and structure. These routines act as anchors, especially in later life, providing a feeling of purpose and continuity. When routines are not disrupted by conflict or compromise, they become deeply restorative. Importantly, customization does not mean rigidity. It means freedom to adjust as health and needs change. A solo retiree can adapt quickly, slowing down during recovery, increasing activity during stronger periods, or changing routines as the body evolves. This adaptability supports long-term independence. In the end, customized health and daily living are about respect. Respect for one's body, limits, and preferences. For many retirees, living solo allows them to care for themselves with attention and kindness, creating a lifestyle that truly supports longevity, comfort, and peace of mind. Redefining happiness beyond traditional relationships is one of the deepest shifts taking place among people who choose to enter retirement solo. For much of life, happiness is presented as something external and conditional, tied to marriage, constant companionship, or fitting into socially approved roles. Many people grow up believing that being partnered is the ultimate proof of success and fulfillment. Retirement, however, often brings a powerful awakening. Happiness does not have one shape, and it does not require a lifelong partner to be real or meaningful. As people age, they gain clarity about what truly brings them contentment. They begin to understand that peace, emotional safety, and self-respect matter more than maintaining appearances. Some discover that being in a relationship, especially one based on habit, fear, or obligation, can quietly drain joy rather than create it. Choosing to retire solo becomes a way of honoring personal truth, rather than continuing a story written by others. Happiness in solo retirement is often rooted in inner alignment. It comes from living honestly, making choices that reflect current values, and letting go of the need to explain or justify those choices. Without the pressure to meet a partner's expectations or conform to traditional milestones, people feel free to define happiness on their own terms. For some, happiness is a calm morning routine. For others, it is creative expression, spiritual growth, travel, or meaningful service. None of these require a romantic relationship to be valid. This redefinition also removes fear. Many people stay in unsatisfying relationships because they fear loneliness more than unhappiness.
retirement teaches a different lesson. Loneliness can exist even in company, while fulfillment can exist in solitude. Solo retirees often discover that being alone does not mean being empty. It means having space to connect deeply with oneself, to listen inwardly and enjoy life without emotional tension. Another important shift is realizing that connection does not have to be exclusive to be meaningful. Happiness can come from friendships, family bonds, community involvement, and shared interests. These connections often feel lighter and more genuine because they are chosen freely, not relied upon to meet every emotional need. This balance creates healthier relationships and reduces emotional dependency. Redefining happiness also brings dignity. It allows people to age without apology, without chasing approval, and without comparing their lives to outdated standards. There is strength in saying, "This life works for me." That confidence itself becomes a source of joy. In the end, choosing solo retirement is not about rejecting love. It is about expanding the definition of fulfillment. It is about recognizing that happiness is deeply personal, and that the most peaceful later years often come from living in harmony with oneself rather than conforming to tradition.